Closed captioning for The Casey Malone Show is sponsored by Hunter Stevens Land Title Agency. Integrity, service, and commitment you can trust.
Oh, yeah. Casey Malone is serving up local. It's time for the stories of our region, the tastes, the sights, the sounds, and the people in and around the valley. Get ready for some local flavor on The Casey Malone Show.
Today we pay a visit to Napa Grocery. Let them do the cooking. I also prepare mushroom barley soup. But first, mushroom growers in Trumbull County. A tip of the cap. It's a fascinating operation. I'm at the world headquarters for a tip of the cap mushrooms. And this is run by Craig Tomko. And I've been enjoying the mushrooms from Rulli Brothers. And I had to come in when I found out you were local. Yep. And you have no idea the operation. I am shocked at what it takes to grow mushrooms. I thought, maybe it was some manure, throw some spores on it, and we got mushrooms.
Nah, not quite.
It's a lot more scientific, isn't it?
It's a little deeper than that.
And what was your reasoning? Well, how did you get into mushrooms?
Well, it's kind of a strange story. We started, I was working for the sheriff's department, and I've always wanted to own my own business. And the opportunity came up, and my wife suggested growing mushrooms. And I kind of, okay, honey, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Great.
And did you know anything about it?
Nothing.
It was just
whatsoever.
out of the blue.
Right. So I started doing some research on it, and I thought, wow, this is really interesting, and it had a lot of aspects of things I like to do.
Right.
Like the lab work and stuff like that. I just find that fascinating. And so it combined a bunch of different things, and we had the space here. It wasn't being used for anything.
Perfect.
Yes, it is. It is perfect environment. So we had the space, and I thought, I can do this.
So when you began, how long did it take from inception to your first product?
Almost a year.
Wow, I mean, that's,
almost a year.
Heavy time consuming.
Yeah, it was during COVID, and a lot of the resources for the right people to get to do this stuff weren't available.
Right.
So I had to learn to do a lot of it myself. And, it started with painting and carpentry and plumbing and electrical and
you really need like a sterile environment to do this. You can't just...
Yeah, your mushrooms compete with other funguses and bacteria and things like that. And we try to create an environment for the mushrooms that is ideal for them to grow in. So you have to, it has to be very clean. There's a lot of equipment involved in making sure that mushroom has the perfect environment to flourish.
With no contaminants or anything. But it starts with wood pellets and soybean
hull. Yeah.
Wow. So, I mean, this looks like bunny food.
Yep. Yeah, actually it is used in bunny food.
Is it?
So, yep.
So these are the soybean pellets. And then these are the wood pellets. Is there any special wood?
Hardwoods. A lot of people like to use just oak, but mine is a mixture of different hardwoods that the mill that makes the pellets have available at that time.
So this is your base.
Yep.
And where do we go from here?
Well, it gets put in a grow bag, which looks like this, and water's added to it. It has a filtration patch for air exchange. And then it goes into our steam barrel over here, which it's not quite a sterilization process, it's actually a pasteurization process.
Okay.
But it's basically killing off all the competing bacteria and funguses and spores and everything else that the mushrooms would have to compete with.
After everything's been sterilized, you then inoculate.
Yes.
With the
liquid culture,
spores. Could you call them liquid spores?
They're not actually spores. You can start with spores, but it's a whole lot more work.
Okay.
So
because this is a lot of work.
Yeah.
I can't imagine more.
Spores are what the mushrooms actually drop.
Right.
You need two compatible spores to join together to make the gene set. To make the gene set to form the mycelium that will grow mushrooms.
So this has been inoculated.
Yes.
And this white growth is good.
Yes, that's mycelium. That's
And-
the actual plant of a mushroom.
And then you want this whole bag to be white?
Yeah.
And then you know it's ready to go.
Right. And this will then inoculate several, 7 to 10 of my actual large grow blocks that we just talked about in the tank. That's
They're
the lab.
inoculated, and now they come in to incubate.
Right. This is
So
our
all
incubation
of
room
this
here.
is different stages.
Yep. You can see the difference in size. One
Right.
of these bags will inoculate 7 to 10 of these bags.
So now this is the big reveal. What do you call this room?
This is our grow room. This is where the magic happens.
All right, come
All
on
right.
in. Over here is where we have the lion's beard, lion's mane, and you just slice the bag and they just pop out the sides.
Yeah, you close the bag down over the block, cut a slice in the side, and that's where the mycelium will know to grow the mushrooms from.
What are your favorites, Jim?
I would have to say the pinks are my favorite. They taste wonderful, and I absolutely love the color.
And
I
how
think
would
they
you
look beautiful.
prepare that?
These ones, I've actually, oh man, I made my girlfriend a pink chicken linguine. So I took the pinks, I sauteed them down, a little salt, pepper, butter, garlic, and a little bit of our pink spice rub. Then I reduced that down, let the mushrooms cook until they were nice and small. I then used a cornstarch slurry to just thicken it up with a little bit of cream. Added that to the pasta and the sauteed chicken. It was absolutely phenomenal.
So now, Michelle, you are in charge of making sure these all get delivered, correct?
Correct, mostly, yes.
So look at these. These are going out today.
So we harvested those yesterday afternoon. So
What
we
about
always
the
put the
pinks?
little tags on there when they were harvested, so
Yes,
you know.
the harvest date, and you say a good week.
Yeah. Some of them, like the king trumpets, it really just depends too on the environment that they're in the store. We try to like deliver twice a week so that we can
Beautiful.
keep the freshest ones there possible for everybody. But yeah,
These
a good
are
week.
absolutely beautiful. Now, you have got all kind of stuff going on. You're making spice rubs, and you're a very good cook. Telling you,
wait.
and there's going to be new varieties, and hopefully the stockies will be up by
Yes,
then.
I hope so. Yes.
Okay,
Well,
I really
definitely.
appreciate it.
Oh, I had so much
Thank
fun.
you. A tip of the cap. Mushrooms. The Casey Malone Show will be right back with more local flavor.
Kamara Jewelers is the place to buy an engagement ring because we want a relationship with you that lasts a lifetime. Your commitment with her is the same commitment we have to you.
We want to sit down with you and teach you about diamonds so you're educated on what you're buying. We have the largest selection we ever have, which is the largest in the area, and at the best value. And if it's not something in our case, we could always custom make it. We can make any dream come true.
Get real, get Kamara.
Rulli Brothers has a great choice of quality cheeses. We use our relationship with Old World Houses to specially select the product and then have it custom cut and packaged by our own local artisans. At Rulli Brothers Market, our family is in the store.
Join the Island Purple Cat family. Employment opportunities are available. Given is living. Join the Island Purple Cat family. Employment opportunities are available at $13 an hour. Given is living.
I'm all about local, and my bank is Farmers National Bank. Farmers is the true hometown bank in the Mahoning Valley, standing strong for our local families and businesses since 1887. Farmers is also future-focused with a lab branch, interactive teller machines, and best-in-class mobile mortgage app. We've all learned the value of local relationships, businesses, and communities. Switch to Farmers.
I'm Elizabeth Bernard. For For more than 30 years, I've provided our Valley with sound legal advice. My associate Jennifer Rigetti and I will be your legal representatives if you're involved in a car, truck, or motorcycle accident. Don't try to handle it yourself. We'll navigate the red tape of dealing with doctors, medical insurance, and all the obstacles that you'll face. Remember, there are no upfront fees on personal injury cases, and hiring a lawyer does not mean you have to go to court.
Call attorney Elizabeth Bernard, local legal experience for more than 30 years.
The 45th Annual Mahoning Valley St. Patrick's Day Parade is Sunday, March 12th. Enter your group, organization, or marching band at mvstpatrickparade.com.
You better come on in my kitchen.
Well, I got to tell you, Craig and Michelle have an awesome setup over there at a Tip of the Cap Mushrooms. So I'm going to be preparing a mushroom barley soup with some of their mushrooms. But I wanted to show you that I too can grow mushrooms. I got this mushroom growing kit from them, and this is the pink oysters, and I think tomorrow they're going to be ready to harvest. So how cool is that? I'm making my own mushrooms, man. So that was very cool, and that was a lot of fun being over there. And I've got a variety of mushrooms that I'm going to use, and it will be kind of vegetarian because I'm not going to use any beef, but I am going to use beef stock. But if you don't want to, you can use a chicken stock or even a vegetable stock. But I do recommend a pearled barley because it doesn't need to cook as long. Just make sure that you rinse it real well before you use it in the soup. So let's get started, and we'll go over all the ingredients for mushroom barley soup. For this recipe, you'll need 1/4 cup of olive oil, 1 cup of chopped onion, 1 cup of chopped carrots, and 1 cup of chopped celery, 3 cloves of garlic minced, 1 teaspoon of fresh thyme chopped, 2 32-ounce cartons of beef, chicken, or vegetable stock, 1 pound of fresh mushrooms. I'm going to use pink oyster, freckled chestnut, and lion's mane. 1 cup of pearled barley rinsed, salt and pepper to taste, and chopped thyme and parsley for garnish. Well, before we start cooking, I'm going to chop up these gorgeous mushrooms. You still want them to be, you know, bite-sized. They will reduce a little bit when you're cooking them, but they really add such a nice flavor and different textures. And this lion's mane, let me tell you, it is just, look at that. You can make steaks out of this. And you just chop that into about, you know, 1/4 inch block. And this is a brand new one for me, the freckled chestnut. And just look how beautiful they are. And you just, I don't even want to break up the things, but they are just, I'm eating one. Delicious. So use your steep pot, Dutch oven, 1/4 cup of olive oil. It's nice and shimmery. So I'm going to add the vegetables, the carrots, the onion, the celery, and you know, I'm using a cup each, but you can add more. I like a lot of vegetables in my soups. And then 3 cloves of garlic. So we are just gonna stir this around 5 to 10 minutes until it softens. So our veggies have softened nicely. Now it is time for the shrooms. Oop, in they go. Oh, and it's beautiful. You're gonna love this. This is a great, rich soup. No meat. So then what I'm gonna do is use about a teaspoon. So half of this thyme, and I'll use the rest for garnish. And then I'm just going to mix this, coat it with the oil and vegetables before I add the stock and the barley. So now I'm gonna add the stock. Now I'm using beef, but really you can use whatever you like. And oh my gosh, if you have homemade stock, make sure you use that. But I think the beef adds that richness, especially with the barley. And it's just so much easier to buy the stock. I made turkey stock once though, after Thanksgiving. And I'll tell you, it was really good. I did like a turkey noodle soup. Okay, so we've got that in. Now, what we're gonna do is add the barley. Pearled barley, make sure you buy that because it doesn't take as long to cook and soften. Make sure you rinse it just like you do the rice for risotto. And then I'm gonna stir this and I'm going to turn up the heat, bring it to a boil for a little bit, and then I'll turn it back down, partially cover it, and it's probably gonna be between 45, 60 minutes. And this soup will be done. So you can see it is nice rolling boil. Now what we're gonna do is just partially cover it, leave a little vent, and then I'm gonna put it down to simmer. So, 1 hour, this rich, hearty soup. It is so good. Honestly, I've made this dozens of times and it really is so comforting. You're gonna love it, regardless of what mushrooms you use and what stock you use. You can use chicken or vegetable, but it really is a filling soup. And because of that, I'm using a little more lighter wine. It's a Vinho Verde from Espanol, Portuguese, super reasonable, and it has like a little effervescence, so it cuts through all those wonderful flavors. Delicious. You really are going to love this soup, and you saw how easy it is to make. Go to my website, caseymalone.com, and look for the recipe for my mushroom barley soup. Cheers. The Casey Malone Show will be right back with more local flavor. I am here at the Magic Tree Pub and Eatery with Rude the Dude. New year, new things going on.
Yeah, we got a lot of new things going on. Chef Tank's back, so we got a new head chef, which means new menus coming soon. Then leading right after that, right into St. Pat's Week. We're the official after party of the Mahoning Valley St. Patrick's Day Parade. So we'll have the big tent up again, the band's outside, the beer trucks, food trucks, then leads straight into our St. Patrick's Day party on that Friday, again with the beer trucks, the tents, and the band. So we're looking forward to this new year coming up.
It is gonna be fun. It is St. Patrick's Week, so go to their Facebook page or their website to get all the details, because new things are constantly being added. And don't forget about that banquet room.
Yeah, banquet rooms pull up to 150. We can do any baptism, graduation parties, anything you like.
Now is the time to book. Go to Magic Tree Pub and Eatery and get all the details.
Donate now. GavaCamp has a generous family that will match every dollar you donate. Help us build a barrier-free educational camp for our friends with special needs. Visit our website or call for more details. Giving is living.
The 45th Annual Mahoning Valley St. Patrick's Day Parade is Sunday, March 12th. Enter your group, organization, or marching band at mvstpatrickparade.com.
Rulli Brothers is way ahead of the competition. Check out Rulli Spice World, where you can buy bulk herbs and spices, plus candies, nuts, and fillings for pennies on the dollar. At Rulli Brothers Market, our family is in the store.
Don't let the name fool you. Napa Grocery is much more than a market. They carry specialty pantry items and cheeses, but they shine with their Roman pizzas, sandwiches, salads, fresh prepared meals, and desserts. Napa is worth the trip to Canfield. Aaron Heineck is the owner here at Napa Grocery, and everything has evolved. You've been open for over a year now.
That's right.
And how have things changed since you originally opened?
How have things changed? Boy, quite a bit. I mean, the layout of the store, our offerings, how we are executing things back in the kitchen. I mean, it's really been a pretty big learning curve over the past, I guess, 14 months now. Yeah.
And it's pre-prepared foods that you can heat up and eat here,
In part,
or you
yes.
can take home.
Right.
And I think that is a really good concept because there's really not a lot of grab and go places.
Right.
But then it's really nice that you can eat it here also. You have the manicotti, you've got all kind of things in the case that you can take home and have dinner and your salads.
Right.
And do you see that like lunches and dinners get a little busier for in-house dining?
That it's actually taken over. When we opened the store, that was our plan, was to offer the prepared foods and maybe some sandwiches, maybe some pizzas. And as we saw what was selling, the sandwiches and the pizzas were what we saw really driving the business. So and that was one of the first adjustments that we made was we'll need to adjust the menu, scale back a little bit on the prepared foods. We still have them, and it still makes a lot of money for us. But the pizzas and the sandwiches have far and away taken over.
Well, as I said earlier, one of my favorite things here at Napa is your pizza. The Roman pizza. Now, what makes this dough so different than other doughs?
So this dough is different. Basically, the technique that we use. So we have this dough here was mixed on Sunday. Sits in the cooler for 2 days, and then we ball it up, set it in these boxes. It goes back in the cooler, and then this will be baked tomorrow.
So you have a 72-hour resting time.
72-hour resting time. So basically what that does is the yeast are acting on those glutens for 72 hours, which breaks it down, makes the dough lighter, crispier, airier. So it's that long fermentation time that really, and develops flavor and all the rest.
And is there a different flour or anything special that you're using?
Yes, we're using an Italian flour, a 00 flour, which is how finely it's ground. That helps with the water absorption. That's the other thing with this dough is the amount of water.
What about water? Does our area have the right kind of water? Because they say some people, don't use their city water because.
Well, so this building is actually on well water, which I think that helps our dough, but we also run it through a filter.
Ray Lewis is the pizza maker extraordinaire who prepares these. So at all times, they try to keep the 10 different types of pizza out in the case. And you keep replenishing it.
Yes.
But when I buy the pizza, I will buy one and I'll say it's par baked.
Yeah, I mean, for the
because
dough,
they all have to get kind of baked, and then when I take it home and I heat it in the oven, it's 10 minutes at 400. So, what are the most popular flavors, what types of pizza?
Our most popular is, of course, our margarita, and then we have our mushroom is very popular.
Love the mushroom, big fan.
The prosciutto, and of course, pepperoni, because that's probably like the most classic pizza that we have here.
They don't use the round discs.
No.
You guys use it cubed, which
we want you to have pepperoni
interesting.
in every bite. You don't have to fight for pepperoni. No.
So what kind are we making right now?
I'm going to make a spicy salami.
Okay, the spicy salami.
All right, what we do is we have our pizza sauce here. We make this from scratch every day also. So what I'll do is I'll put like a scoop and a half on here. And based off of the consistency of the dough, I'll put a little bit of extra on there because it can soak into it.
Yeah.
So you don't want to overdo it. Carry it all the way to the edges. I use a lot of gloves over here because I spread it with my fingers.
Well, it's more efficient, isn't it?
Gotta put your hands on your food,
That's right.
Okay. So we
You're not at home.
this.
You gotta use the glove.
You gotta use the glove. Okay, excuse me, I don't wanna get this all over you.
Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna get another glove.
Get a fresh glove.
So I'll take a Romano, a little bit of Romano here.
Big fan of Romano.
Yes, and then we have our mozzarella.
Put a decent layer across there on the bottom here. A lot of our pizzas get extra as we have our salami. I normally build from the corners here. These slices, fresh mozz here. Red pepper flake.
Red pepper flakes, absolutely necessary.
Definitely need those. And we put olives on it.
Love the olives.
And then after that, you know, you add a little bit of kosher salt. Just a little bit there. Arugula.
The arugula. I love arugula.
A little bit of extra virgin olive oil.
Now, how many pieces, when you're selling them out there in the case, do you get out of each one of these?
Well, these come in 4s. See, look how big the slice is.
Look at the slice of that.
This is how big the slice is. But when you make a full pizza, this slice gets cut in half. So you still get your 8. But when we sell single slices, it's pretty much 2 slices.
I mean, that's beautiful.
Looks beautiful. Look at that. So
I just wanna
all
take a
airy
big
and
bite.
stuff.
So which one is your favorite? Of all the pizzas that you make, which one do you take home at night?
Spicy sausage. Every time.
No olives.
No olives on that one. No olives on that one.
Hold the olives. And you know, it's just so much easier. And I just think people aren't cooking anymore. And I mean, you're really filling a void that is not here in our market.
And that's really what we wanted to do when we first opened up. You know, we've adjusted some, but yeah, we wanted to fill that void for people. You know, be it business professionals, busy moms, you know, whoever it is, just don't have time or the energy to cook tonight. Well, stop in and we've got you covered.
The Casey Malone Show is sponsored in part by Denise and John York and the DeBartolo Corporation.